everyone, to another exciting episode of Saddle Up. I am Jay, your host for this evening, and with me, as always, and for the second time and ongoing, is Gene, the Singing Cowboy. How you doing, Gene?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great. We're on episode 2, so we got some good feedback, and I'm excited to get into this. Of course, it's not just you and I. Rounding up our posse tonight is Philly the Kid.
Hey, what's happening, y'all?
Just having a blast. Sitting around a campfire, drinking some beers. Now, although Brian and Lance, they can't be with us tonight because I think they got caught robbing a bank or a stagecoach or some shit. Bottom line is, they're set to be hanged. So
I think they're at the whorehouse. That's what I think.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, good call on that. I was trying to, I think their wives are listening, so I was trying to cover for them. I think they'd rather be.
They got to save their own necks.
It's either that or they're spending the night in a drunk tank.
Exactly. Also, although we don't have Brian, and we don't have Lance, we definitely have a special gun for hire joining us tonight. A cowpoke that I've actually had the pleasure of meeting in person once before in Chicago, none other than Patrick Long-Legged Lear.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Thought I would chime in real quick while we're getting through here. You guys had a trailer last show on the Sisters Brothers, and I actually did get out to see that movie. And
nice,
very, very, very good movie. It's a little different than what I expected. I wasn't sure going in because I hadn't seen the trailer. I didn't know if it was going to be a comedy western or just a straight western. Turns out it was more just a dramatic western.
Really?
Pretty decent story overall. It was a little different take in some ways, but it's mainly a story about these two brothers and their relationship with each other. And as they go on, there's a antagonist and whatnot and all that in the movie, but the real story is basically their relationship between each other, and that's played by Joaquin Phoenix and now I'm drawing a blank on his name, but
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly.
Yes,
John C. Reilly. Yeah. And then of course Jake Gyllenhaal's in it too. So I had a great cast, but a pretty solid movie overall. I enjoyed it. Not maybe the best Western I've seen, but definitely an enjoyable one to check out. So it's in theaters now, so if you get a chance, go check it out.
So
nice.
So it wasn't much of a comedy then, because when I saw the trailer, I thought it had a little both.
It has a little bit of both, but it's not. It's just a little comedy. It's not like comedy driven or anything. It's much more drama driven. Which, like I said, given the cast, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was going to be more of a comedic show, but it's actually more of a dramatic show. But it does have comic moments in it. Don't get me wrong. There's still a couple laughs here and there, but it's just not. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Oh, nice. Now, do you get most of the comic scenes in the trailer?
Not really. I mean, it's just kind of their banter between each other as brothers, and they kind of do as brothers do, but it's, I wouldn't say you get all the comedy stuff in the trailers, but you probably get maybe 75% of it.
Okay.
There's
now, would you want
to do what?
Would you want to see those two guys again in kind of in the same roles, kind of like that buddy cop brother?
Possibly. I mean, possibly. I guess it would just depend on the movie and what they were doing. Because I mean, the way it ends. I mean, they could even do a sequel if they wanted to. It doesn't necessarily end in a cliffhanger or anything, but they could extend the story if they wanted to. I mean, but I don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that one making a whole lot of money either. So we'll see if there's a sequel at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those movies that kind of came in on the radar too. It's just,
definitely, and most westerns these days are definitely coming under the radar now.
Right.
They're just not big. They don't pull in the money and they don't pull in the crowds anymore. So, I mean, look at Tomahawk. What we did last time. That was one of the great movies. I think top 10 on some of our folks on here, and that was definitely under the radar. So yeah, westerns not a big deal anymore.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, Gene, what do we have for the folks tonight?
Well, tonight we are doing something a little different from our standard format. We ain't got trailers for you. We ain't got movie news for you. What we have is a straight-up shootout. We're going to pit a classic Western against its remake and see who's still standing when the smoke clears. It's the always reliable John Wayne bringing his Rooster Cogburn and six-shooters to square off against the always versatile Jeff Bridges to take on the cranky old Marshal.
All right, now that's what I asked. Now we're talking, guys. Western podcast, you have to have a shootout. All right, I mean, we've got 24 rounds of ammo. We only got 2 eyes between the two, and who knows how much whiskey. And we're going to take a look at True Grit from 1969 against True Grit of 2010. So what we're going to compare is we're going to look at lead versus lead, and that includes Rooster Cogburn, that includes Maddie, and then we're going to also look at the supporting characters, the villains, the side characters. You know, we're going to look at who had the best villain in each. We're just going to see how which movie flows better as well. So, I mean, with all that in mind, how do you guys want to kind of score this? I know we can't do the on 10 and all that because we got to pit one against the other. So, any ideas?
Well, I say after we go through the categories, we grab a gun, pick a side, and whichever side has the most guns wins.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. That's perfect. I mean, that's a shootout. Straight up, whoever has the most guns, boom, gonna win. I like it, Philly. All right, cool. So let's get started with a little trivia. True Grit, 1969. The director was Henry Hathaway, also known for other movies as Call North Side 777, and of course, in the spirit of tonight's show, Shootout. The writer of True Grit that's based on the book by Charles Portis, which is on my list. I got to read that before I die, I guess. And screenwriter Marguerite Roberts. Now, despite its commercial success, and it was a pretty big one, John Wayne was not pleased with the finished film. I mean, he greatly disliked Darby's. Yeah, I mean, he especially Kim Darby, his leading gal. He just did not like her performance, and he was not quiet or shy about it. I mean, when he was this film, back in 1969, he would tell people that, he was in much better films, much like, the 1939 Stagecoach as an example. He was like, just go see these old films, that's John Wayne though, you know what you're going to get. He's going to be open. He's going to be honest. He's not going to be shy. And who's going to tell John Wayne to shut up, right?
Well, and wasn't he in like over 200 movies or something ridiculous? So, I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
I think he holds the world record for most movies done by an actor.
Really?
Yeah.
Visually, right?
Well, okay. I mean, it's acted in or whatever, but
yeah. Oh, so when another point of trivia, when he was accepting an Academy Award for his performance, he said, "Wow, if I'd have had known that, I'd put the patch on 35 years earlier."
Yeah.
Maybe he would have liked the movie if we might have made it a little earlier. Another fun fact is the film's release date of Wednesday, June 11th, 1969 was 10 years to the day before John Wayne died on June 11th of 1979.
Impacted bowels.
So we lost.
Get your shit checked out.
Years ago. Yeah, true that. So from trivia for True Grit 2010, the directors were the always favorable Ethan and Joel Coen, known for other movies such as No Country for Old Men, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, which stars Jeff Bridges, by the way, as the dude, and of course many other movies that no doubt take up space on a lot of folks' top 10 movies of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, you cannot throw a rock and not hit a great movie created by Ethan and Joel Coen.
Yep.
The writer, again, of course, based on the book by Charles Portis, and Joel and Ethan were the screenwriters for this movie. Now, strange thing on this, 15, I guess, I don't know, maybe they got some cue from John Wayne because he did not like his co-actor's performance, 15,000 girls applied for the role of young Maddie Ross. The part, of course, went to Haley Steinfeld. Is that how you say her name? Steinfeld?
Yes.
Yeah. She was only 13 years old when she was cast for the movie, which is around about the same age as the character, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually her. Yeah, exactly. And I think the original actress Kim Darby was in her early 20s, I believe. She might have already been married and had a kid at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But this was actually Haley's first theatrical debut. While the character of Rooster Cogburn is supposed to be around 40, both John Wayne and Jeff Bridges were actually in their early 60s when they portrayed the roles. John Wayne was 62, Jeff Bridges was 60. This movie, True Grit, was nominated for 10 Academy Awards, failing to win anything. So it goes down in one of the film history's one of the most ever nominated to not win a damn thing. And it was one of only 15 or about 16 Western movies to be nominated for Best Picture at all. And it's also the first Western to be nominated since Unforgiven by Clint Eastwood. And that was a long time ago. That had to been like early 90s or something. Yeah. So there had Western nominated for a movie since Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. That's insane. That's got to be like 20 years or so.
Easily.
You know what? That depends on whether you call Philip's favorite movie of all time, Brokeback Mountain, a Western. I don't know. Phil might argue this, but
no. I've never seen that.
Wait, is Phil?
I've never seen that.
I me neither, on purpose.
I have seen it, and it is greatly overrated.
Really? I've actually always wanted to see it. I haven't seen it, but I do want to see it at least once and just see what all the hubbub is all about.
There's gay cowboys.
Here's actually a funny trivia fact. Buster Cohen, which is Ethan's son, was listed in the credits as Mr. Damon's abs double. In reality, he was just a set assistant to a director or supervisor. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start off. And Patrick, you are our special gun for hire. Let's hear from you first. Let's start off with the lead. And actually, I'd like to start off with, although Rooster Cogburn is the main, I think we should start off with Maddie Ross. So
okay.
So what did you think the 1969 Kim Darby versus Haley Steinfeld?
Well, I think John Wayne was right. I did not like Kim Darby that well at all. I found her more annoying, and I know she was supposed to be, the character was supposed to be kind of annoying, but I just didn't. For one, her performance to me wasn't as convincing. I don't know, it just felt kind of forced the whole time. And now, that being said, with Haley Steinfeld, I thought Haley Steinfeld, on the other hand, did a fantastic job. Hers was much more believable. And, and maybe it was partly the age difference, I don't know. But I just felt that her performance she was much more convincing as the pushy girl than Kim Darby was. It's almost like Kim Darby just felt like she was kind of forcing the issue too much.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think Haley she was like kind of the boss the whole time. She knew what she wanted and she went after it.
Right.
Kim Darby was trying to kind of act around everybody. And I don't know if John Wayne was that much of intimidation or not.
Right.
I don't know where the direction lead is. I mean, I don't know much about the director from the first movie, but I don't know if it's because that Haley Steinfeld had Ethan and Joel as the direction. So I'm sure that had to play a huge part of it. And, Westerns are much different than they are now than they were before. So,
right.
But yeah, Phil, what did you think?
So Haley Steinfeld is the new one, yes?
Yes.
I thought she did pretty amazing. She did, like sometimes when they put a 14-year-old in a movie, or that's supposed to be 14, usually they're cast a little bit older so it takes, I think, some of the innocence away. This chick looked 14 because she was 14. She looked like a little girl. and it made a couple of the scenes a little bit awkward. But
yeah,
aside from that, I do think she killed it. She definitely was very believable in the role. I actually liked the older one, though. I think that she did a really great job of giving off that kid who's trying to step up and be in charge thing, but who's still really unsure of herself vibe. She definitely was kind of annoying in some spots, but I think that was at least mostly on purpose. She didn't do quite as well as the new one, though. I got to give it to Haley.
Gene?
Yeah. You guys cut out for a second there. I couldn't hear anything. Anyways, yeah, I thought Haley Steinfeld was head and shoulders better. I liked her a lot better in the role. The thing that bothered me about Kim Darby is I think maybe she's done a lot of stage work because it seemed pretty theatrical to me, like stagey. But yeah, I think John Wayne was right too. And plus, every time I look at Kim Darby, I can only think of the mother in Better Off Dead. So that's what I remember her most from. And she was too old for that part.
Yeah, she didn't look 14 at all.
No, Haley Steinfeld was amazing in that role. She got a lot of praise for it, and she was really good at it. She was the right one.
The one thing that really got me, I think, on one about Kim Darby, and I don't know what it was, but I couldn't get past the haircut. I just don't.
Yeah.
But and I think I've said this before, where she was kind of a product of the time, and that haircut was kind of a product of the time for actresses and for not actresses. I'm sorry, just kind of women. And or even men or whatever, but it wasn't that much of a set piece. So that really kind of threw me off for a bit. Where you had, and that's the difference between older westerns and newer westerns. You know, you get more realistic as time goes on because of course you evolve your movie making and everything, and I get all that. But it just seems she was in a spot in like the 60s and the 70s, and she was just there. They didn't take that part out and put it into a western that was supposed to be 120 earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if
she looked like she took a time machine.
Exactly. And it's not fair to knock her for that. You have to include the direction.
Absolutely.
And I heard one time, and I didn't really focus on directors and things until I heard this one. I'm going to share it with you guys, and I'm going to pull Batman in. So when The Dark Knight came out, a lot of people had a problem with Christian Bale's voice. How he shouldn't sound like that, and how Christian Bale is a better actor and all that. And it wasn't until that Kevin Conroy, the voice who does Batman in the animated series and all that, he said, well, you don't blame Christian Bale, you blame Christopher Nolan. He's the director. When an actor's acting, he doesn't know. He relies on the direction to set this, to give them feedback and see how he's doing. So if everybody has a problem with Christian Bale's voice, you go to Christopher Nolan and you say it. You have the problem with him because he's the director. So it wasn't that I actually kind of grasped the whole concept of director has a bigger part of it. So for a long time, I blame Kim Darby, but I think the whole piece was there. And John Wayne is at the end of his career. He should have had a little bit more say. Bottom line, I'm with y'all on this one. I'm going to go Haley Steinfeld. Definitely did knocked it. And that was the thing too, because when True Grit was coming out, you're like, oh man, Jeff Bridges. Nobody can replace John Wayne. Nobody.
Right.
And the whole thing was, can Jeff Bridges replace him? Can Jeff Bridges? So when the movie came out, guess what? Everybody forgot about Jeff Bridges replacing John Wayne. It was all, man, this girl knocked it out of the park, stole the show. This movie is all her, and you didn't get that in the original, so you definitely got to go with Haley Steinfeld in this one. It's done deal.
Yeah. And I'm honestly not looking forward to the Jeff Bridges John Wayne thing.
Oh, we're about to get into, because now we're on the second part of the lead. It is John Wayne versus Jeff Bridges. And since Phil's not ready to get into that, hey, let's start with Phil.
Oh, man. How can you replace John Wayne? maybe with Jeff Bridges, the dude could play this part, right?
Yep.
I think he knocks it out of the fucking park. I love him. I love every second of him in this movie. I love his drunken craziness. It's not the same character that John Wayne played it as. It's different. I think he made it his own, and I love that. I may be biased. The Big Lebowski is probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and I love Jeff Bridges. Having said that, dude, drunken old fat John Wayne is the best John Wayne. I love this movie, and I love every line that he has in this movie. He's so powerful, and everything that he says, just from being really jovial to like turning mean on a thumbnail, I love it. John Wayne is John Wayne, and you can't beat him. So John Wayne has to win this battle.
Wow! All right, we got one for John Wayne. Patrick, what do you got?
Well, this is the one here where, so yes, we've got the legendary John Wayne. And this is definitely hit the role of, when you say John Wayne, this is what you think of Rooster Cogburn. I mean, it's almost like that's exactly how you picture him. If you had, if you had to close your eyes and could someone describe John Wayne, you would probably draw up a description of Rooster Cogburn.
Well, I tell you.
That being said, as hard as that role was to fill, I think if there was one actor that they could have got to play the part of John Wayne, it was definitely Jeff Bridges. I think the reason why is because they're both similar actors in a way. They're both very big. They both have a lot of swagger. John Wayne had kind of a certain mystique about him as an actor, and Jeff Bridges has that same. I mean, it's different, but it's the same type of mystique about him. He's got that shtick of that makes him who he is. And it's very unique to him, and that's why I think for that role, Jeff Bridges was definitely the guy for it, and I don't think anybody else would have done near as good a job at the role than Jeff Bridges. I think he was the perfect actor for that role. That being said, it's still such an iconic role, and it is John Wayne. And like I said, it's like trying to replace Elvis.
Or
you can't do it. You just can't. You can get close to the mark, and you can do it honorably, but you're never going to reach that status. You're never going to hit that legendary status that John Wayne was, and for that reason, I'm going to give it to John Wayne.
Fair enough. I think I want to challenge you on some of that, but I'd like to hear from Gene.
Okay. Now, this is going to be hard for me because my dad was a huge John Wayne fan. Now, it was mostly because I think of what he stood for, the all-American cowboy, that kind of thing, and tough guy. And my dad really looked up to him. And I love John Wayne. I think he was great at what he did. But honestly, in this role, if Jeff Bridges would have done this before John Wayne, if it was switched, we'd be saying it's Jeff Bridges.
Oh, 100%.
I think.
Yeah.
Because Jeff Bridges, his part of Rooster Cogburn, I think Jeff Bridges is a better actor than John Wayne. John Wayne was more of a movie star.
Right.
There's a difference between a movie star and an actor. Like, for instance, someone like George Clooney. He always plays George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
In everything he's in, you can see George Clooney. The same thing with John Wayne. Everything that John Wayne was in, you can see John Wayne. Just a great man and everything. Mm-hmm. But I pick Jeff Bridges.
Nice.
I think he was a better actor. And also, John Wayne, I lived in Arkansas for about a year and a half, and the movie takes place in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And Jeff Bridges had the accent down.
Yeah.
I love his accent in this.
Yeah,
it's fucking hilarious.
Well, John Wayne had the same accent in all his movies.
Yes.
John Wayne was just playing an over-the-top version of John Wayne.
Yeah.
That's who Rooster Cogburn is.
Even when John Wayne played a Mongol from Mongolia, he still had a Texas accent.
Wasn't he in that? What was it, the Ten Commandments? He was one of the Roman soldiers. I guess he was the son of God.
Was he really? I didn't.
I think.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen
he was
that
the guy
movie.
who stabbed him. Anyway, well, okay, so John Wayne won the Oscar for this movie, right? And I'm gonna agree.
Nominated, right?
Oh, I think he won.
Did he win? Oh, okay.
I believe he did. And I'm going to agree with John Wayne on this, that I don't think he thought he deserved it, right? Because this is at the end of his career. And John Wayne, by the end of his career, pretty much got to do what he wanted to do. Kind of, you brought up, what's his nuts?
Clooney?
Yeah, Clooney. He's kind of the same way. He's done so much, he can pretty much do anything he wants right now. So he kind of really got a pass because he was able just to play. I'm going to play John Wayne at the end of John Wayne's career, which Rooster Cogburn was kind of at the end of his career. So let's throw some football into this. You guys had mentioned Texas. I'm going to say that John Wayne has been the quarterback for so long, but he's at the end of his career, and when someone comes in and they're fresh and they're better, and they're going to take it. And I think you just, Gene, you hit it on the head that Jeff Bridges is an actor. So he came after it in a completely different way. And Phil, you said the same thing. And his own, and I think he took this role from John Wayne. No, there's no way he was going to play John Wayne. He wasn't going to do the John Wayne voice. He wasn't going to do the swagger. He was going to do his own. And for me, I think when I say who is Rooster Cogburn, I'm going to go straight to Jeff Bridges. Who is John Wayne? Of course, you're going to go to John Wayne. Who's a 6'2" cowboy that could do anything? I'm going to go to John Wayne. But he everything he did, and you said that John Wayne can turn on a dime where he was kind of jovial, and then he can do that. He can switch and all that. I thought Jeff Bridges did that when he said he's just chatting it up, and they see somebody coming, and he just gets that look on his face. I mean, he just turns on a dime, and he is straight. You can see he is ready to kill. And I just
made that movie.
Oh my God, he was just so awesome in this. I'm going to go Jeff Bridges. If this was a John Wayne from the 30s, if this was John Wayne from like The Searchers, man, I'd say you're going to have that's going to be a tougher decision for me. But this is John Wayne. He's done, and he's done at the end of his career, and he's just kind of floating along through. Kind of this to me, it's almost the same. It's not the same, but it's close to like where Adam Sandler is now. You know, he got where he did. Now he's just fucking coasting it in. And to me, I think John Wayne kind of coasted it in. And I think John Wayne felt that too. And that's just kind of where I see where he is at the end of his career. And I'm going to give it to Jeff Bridges.
But who delivered the line, "Fill your hands, you son of a bitch"?
Yes, and I like the way Jeff Bridges delivered that line better than the way John Wayne delivered it.
Oh, no.
Sorry, but I did.
Oh, that John Wayne line was classic. He did that, and I got chills. I was like, oh, that was badass. He looks like my grandpa, though. Maybe I'm a little biased.
Did you guys notice that they had the patch on opposite eyes?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was kind of different.
Yeah, John Wayne had it on his left, and Jeff Bridges had it on the right, correct?
And, and I don't know if Jeff Bridges did that on purpose or not.
Honestly, I don't know.
He just sees better out of his left eye. They just had So he
I will say this about that movie. One of the things, too, that I was kind of impressed with was how they were almost line for line. I mean, there was not a lot of variation. I know the ending was a little different because I know the newer one was a little truer to the book, from what I understand. I've never read the book, but I understand that the ending in the newer one was a lot closer to how the book ended.
I believe so.
But the lines are almost identical, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Pretty much. All right, so it looks like we have Haley wins by a long. The other one just got riddled with bullets. And I think versus 2 on the Cogburn. I think me and Gene are just we got a Mexican standoff between Phil and Patrick. All right, this is good. All right, let's jump into supporting characters. I'd like to jump right into LaBeef.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So you have Glenn Campbell playing the 1969 version, and you have Matt Damon, but not his abs because somebody else is playing his abs. And the new role, so Patrick.
This one, I really enjoy Matt Damon as an actor. So I did like him in it. Glenn Campbell, I think it's not that I don't think he did a bad job or anything. There just wasn't a whole lot to the character to me in the older version. And I felt like they really kind of, in the newer version, they kind of fleshed out that character a little bit more. So I enjoyed Matt Damon's performance a little bit better. And that being said, too, I think Glenn Campbell was a better singer than he was an actor.
And on the flip side, Matt Damon is a better actor than he is a singer.
He is a singer. Yeah, that's true.
We got to be fair.
But there were some scenes. There were some scenes with LaBeouf that played out a little differently. But they're just the way they shot it, I guess, was just different. They kind of shortened it up a little bit here and there. Just changed how certain scenes were, like when he smokes her with the switch and some other stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I think I enjoyed Matt Damon's performance a little bit better
Nice.
as LaBeouf.
Oh wow! Can I go?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, this is the one that I wanted to talk about the most, actually.
Nice.
They changed his role a lot. I feel like Matt Damon doesn't have near the part that LaBeouf did, or Glenn Campbell. And in changing the role, they made Matt Damon kind of creepy and fucking weird, I think. Like the scene about stealing a kiss, Glenn Campbell's version wasn't that creepy. Matt Damon's version was fucking weird.
Yeah, because he's in the room. He's in the room watching her. Yeah,
it was kind of rapey.
a little bit.
It was.
And then
phone. Hold on, my phone's going off for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah, I just decided to start making noise for some reason.
That's cool. And then I feel like the spanking scene, the same deal. Like in the old movie, it kind of made sense why he was doing it. Was it a little over the top? Yeah, but you kind of got to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I get where he's coming from. In this one, when he does it, you're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? That's not okay. It's just, I don't know. I think, I don't, she's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
Well,
I think it's just the writing in this one that
could have been
in defense of that scene
too. Right?
In defense of that scene with it being creepier, I think it makes Rooster Cogburn's line make much more sense than it did in the original.
I don't believe I will. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that, but they made him, I don't know. I kind of like that character in the original True Grit. He's a Texas Ranger, and I'm a Texas guy, so I got to have somebody from my state if he's going to be making fun of Texas the whole goddamn time.
Yeah, and I really wonder how to do the actors. Because you're going to get more with Matt Damon than you're going to get with Glenn Campbell.
Well, yeah.
They may give him a little bit more reign. Glenn Campbell seemed to be having fun on set and fun being there. Matt Damon seemed to be like head first into this role. I mean, the character, his LaBeouf was so into himself. I mean, he was so into his work, and I'm a Texas Ranger, and I'm better than you, and we do this, and hey, everybody look at me, I'm a Texas Ranger, look at me.
Yeah, I know. But those fringes on his coat and like all the making him a dandy and making him the look at me is what kind of turned me off from the character.
But that may have been the Coen brothers wanting him doing that. It may have been how the Coen brothers wanted him to portray it.
Yeah, it was a lot of that is because the writing. It's not necessarily Matt Damon's portrayal of the character. So
correct.
I don't know how to judge that fairly, but I liked him in the original movie. I thought he was a pretty good character. I thought he was a great addition, and in the newer one, I think they tried to remove him from the female empowerment angle. and they just used him as this weird, creepy, sad to say, Texas Ranger guy, and so I was disappointed with that. So Texas Rangers do not act like that, my friend.
Alrighty, so we got one.
Yeah,
and one. Gene, where you?
Definitely Glenn Campbell.
Okay, I think the difference for me now, Glenn Campbell's character, like you guys was saying, he's a better singer than he is an actor. And Matt Damon, I thought was better in the role. And yes, he was creepy at the very beginning of the movie when he said that stealing a kiss line and everything, but by the end, he kind of turned around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He
wasn't so hateable by the end of the movie, but he wasn't so hateable at the beginning of the movie in the other one.
And like you said, though, I think a lot of it has to do with the writing, and it also might be the time, 1969.
Yeah.
Glenn Campbell's character was kind of almost, I don't know, I would have been more, how can I put this? I would have looked up to Matt Damon's character more than I would have Glenn Campbell's character as a role model type thing, because Matt Damon's character was wanting to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I liked Matt Damon in that part a lot better. They cast Glenn Campbell in it because he was Glenn Campbell. I mean, let's be real. And because he sang that song, wrote that song True Grit for the movie.
So he was just kind of a filler for that part, right? And maybe that's why that character wasn't such important or not as filled out as, say, the Matt Damon character.
Right. Matt Damon brought a lot more to that role.
I think he did. Yeah, I think he really did. I mean, you kind of got the sense that. So when you look at the Glenn Campbell character, he's comfortable around people, and he can joke it up and all that. Mm-hmm. With Matt Damon, you can tell he spends a lot of time on his own. So you can tell he kind of struggles, fitting into the bigger, meshing with other people. You get him and Cogburn are constantly going at it because I don't think he knows how to relate to other people, and I think Matt Damon hit the point on that. That was really great. You can tell he is definitely a loner character, and it really shows in the.
And he was used to being in charge all the time, and this time he wasn't in charge.
Exactly.
Mr. Cogburn was telling him how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to be.
And I don't think he can get over the fact that a 13, 14-year-old girl was in charge as well.
Yep.
And that Rooster was kind of following her, not so much as following her, but siding with her. And you can see you've been hoorod or whatever. And I mean, he's said it maybe 10 times in the movie. You can see it was really frustrating him. So I think I'm going to go Matt Damon as well. I think I'm definitely going to go Matt Damon.
Oh, I'm in the minority.
And I think no. Patrick, did you say Glenn Campbell?
No, I said Matt Damon also.
Oh, so we got 3 Matts and 1 Glenn.
Well, he is a better actor again. Same concept, better actor. I didn't like the way it was written.
Understandable.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I understand the way the character was written. He was pretty creepy at that one scene in the bedroom. Yeah. Glenn Campbell said it to her at like the breakfast table or the dinner table or something.
Yeah.
So.
And the older one just had a lighter feel to it. The newer one was it was real heavy,
It did, and I really think it had to do with the actor too, because you're going to get more out of Matt Damon, so you can probably get deeper with this character with Matt Damon than you're going to get. So yeah, I mean that you got to kind of balance that out. And I think that had a better that is why you're going to get 2 different characters.
As much as I hate to say it, you're going to get more out of Jeff Bridges than you could probably get out of John Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, yes, but you can have that role that's perfect for John Wayne, because John Wayne's perfect for certain things, right? He's perfect for that World War II guy. He's perfect for that cowboy. He's perfect for that. So although Jeff Bridges can be versatile and can do all these, the Dude and Starman, I brought that up, and he can do all this, but when someone is perfect at what they do, ain't nobody going to touch it. You're not going to get, never mind. I was just going to say Eddie Murphy because, he's best at stand-up, but then he can do anything, right? He can sing, he can do all that. So never mind. I'm going on tangent. All right.
Just like your opinion, man. Thought I'd throw a dude line. Sorry.
You had to.
Yeah.
If somebody was, then I was going to shut this down. Let's move on to the villain. Let's move on to Ned Pepper.
Ned Pepper. That's the main one, right?
That's
not the one with the black mark, but the other one.
No. Yeah, because the guy with the black mark, I mean, he didn't really have a lot in there, although he was the main guy they were looking for.
He was the motivation.
Yeah, he was the motivation, but you got very little screen time with him.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Phil, what did you think about Robert Duvall versus what's the actor's name? I think his
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same last name.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I really liked both of them, actually. I think that they did a great job. Especially once he comes into the movie, it almost is a line-for-line remake, so it's kind of hard to put those two against each other, almost. But yeah. I think I like the newer one better. Robert Duvall was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But who played the new one? What's his name?
Barry Pepper. Barry Pepper. Same last name as the character. Yeah, I think most people know him as the sniper from Saving Private Ryan.
Yes. Yeah, that guy. Oh man. Well, and I love him in almost everything I've seen him in. I don't know his name, and I think that he did great in this one. He played that sleazy, fucking oily hair bad guy shit to a T, and he did look dirty and stinky and like a bad guy.
His teeth and everything. Oh man, they pulled out all the stops for him.
Yeah, he looked the part so much. The makeup was awesome on that guy, and I thought that he nailed it. He nailed everything that he did in that part, and I don't think that there's anything as great as Robert Duvall is. I don't think there's anything he could have done to stop that performance.
Nice, Patrick.
Well, for me, I like Barry Pepper a lot. I think he's a pretty good actor. I like him in most stuff, but I'm going with Robert Duvall because it's Robert Duvall. I think Robert Duvall is one of the more underrated actors of our time in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't get. I don't think he gets the accolades that he should, and a lot of times, and I think he gets them a little more now because of his age. But he's always been a great actor, and I think that role of Ned Pepper was kind of the perfect role for him. I mean, that's kind of who I think of when, he's that it just worked. He's just that type of the bad guy he was, and it's just perfect for Robert Duvall. And not that I think Pepper did a bad job. I think he did just fine, but I think just Robert Duvall just as such a great actor, I'm going to side with him. I think he just did it fine. And granted, the role it's not a huge role. But a little bit goes a long way. So, and I think he did it just right.
I had no idea it was him until y'all just said something.
I'm going to blow your mind again. If you didn't recognize Robert Duvall, then I'm guessing you didn't recognize Dennis Hopper.
I had to go back and watch it a second time.
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
You remember,
I saw him.
You remember this?
Remember where?
Into the cabin, and those two criminals were in there, right?
One
was shot in the leg, and he got his fingers cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Dennis
Hopper.
The one that got with the long hair? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him at first, and I knew he was in it, and I was looking for him, but I had to rewind it to watch it because I missed it the first time.
It's crazy. You get used to the way somebody looks when they're older, and you see them in a young movie that you haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. There was another known actor in it too, but I can't remember who it was. That was in the first one that made it big later, but I can't remember who it was now.
Not ringing a bell. Gene, where do you stand on Pepper?
Okay, on Pepper, this one is the hardest one for me. But I'm going to have to say I like Robert Duvall a little bit better in the character. He was more subdued, especially you know how they say in acting less is more? And I kind of got that from Robert Duvall's character, whereas with Barry Pepper's character, it was more over the top. I mean, he was a real scumbag. He did play that well, but it was really over the top, especially like in that last scene where he says, "That's bold talk for a one-eyed fat man," and then he laughs and everything. I like the way Robert Duvall delivered that line better, plus everything else he did in the movie. So I'm gonna say Robert Duvall.
All right.
His line about the guy who was like doing the cockle-doodle-doo shit.
Yeah.
And he says, "Yeah, but they're good shots." I thought that was pretty great.
And did you guys notice? Did you guys notice that other villain guy was Josh Brolin?
Yes.
In the new version.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
I think he needs to be mentioned. I thought he was awesome in that character.
Yeah, I did too.
Is he not one we're talking about?
No.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Definitely.
No,
Josh Brolin.
No. Cheney is the guy who.
No, I know. But are we going to talk about Josh Brolin's character?
Yeah. I mean, we can go.
I mean,
they very, very small parts. There wasn't a lot to it, but yeah, we can definitely get into that one next.
Yeah.
So the other person I was just going to bring up real quick, we were talking about Dennis Hopper, was Wilford Brimley was in the original.
What?
As an uncredited character.
Was he like an extra?
Yeah, he was in there somewhere. I just remember seeing his name in a credit. Yeah, I just remember hearing something back. I was like, I knew there was somebody else that was pretty big that was in it, and I just couldn't remember who it was.
Huh.
But, yeah, he had an uncredited part in it.
Probably like one of the crowd members that was watching the hanging or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just, like I said, I'd heard about it, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know. So, and I was like, even with Dennis Hopper, I was trying to look out for him, but I missed Dennis Hopper, and he was right in front of me. So.
Didn't even know that. Wow.
Making a big old tray of biscuits and gravy with the side of diabetes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even know that. All right. Well, for me, I'm actually. I think this kind of falls in the same role as LaBeef, where I think Barry Pepper on the new version was given a little bit more to do with this character. I think they just didn't focus on him enough for Robert. You're right. Robert Duvall is a fantastic actor and fantastic at everything he does, especially since he's been getting older and he's been in a couple of great westerns. I mean, Open Range, was damn good movie, and he is absolutely perfect in that. That being said, I just think the role was just a little bit meatier, and Barry Pepper was given probably a little bit more to work with. And one thing I have to go with is, there's lines that you use in your daily life, lines for movies or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. There's one line that Barry Pepper delivered that I use quite frequently. And it was when she was telling him, when she had shot Cheney the first time, and then she was going to shoot him again, but, it misfired, right? And she's telling him, he goes, they'll do that, and it'll embarrass you every time. So whenever in my daily life, and they're saying, oh man, this computer won't work or something like that, I always throw that line at them. Well, they'll do that, and it'll embarrass you every time. I just loved how he delivered that line. It's one of my favorite lines of all time. And I love it. So with that, I got to go Barry Pepper.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's another even. So Rooster Cogburn and the main guy and the main villain. Yeah. There.
I thought I was going down on that hill by myself.
No, I'm with you on that. I got your back. I got your 6 with my 6-shooter. Okay, now we can get into the Cheney, the guy that's caused this whole mess in the first place. Although both characters weren't really given a lot until kind of the very end. And to be honest, I don't even know who played the original. And of course, Josh Brolin played the 2010. So, Philip, what do you think about the main guys, the Cheney?
So, Cheney was a main focal point of the whole first half of the movie, even though you had never seen him or known who really he was. Mm-hmm. So when he comes into play as Josh Brolin, or in the old one, the other guy.
Old man.
Yeah. I think they actually both did pretty great. I actually like the older movie, that scene, a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Just because I feel like it makes more sense. The way that he's talking to this little girl and just acting like she's not going to shoot him because he doesn't believe that she is. I felt like that made more sense in the storyline than when Josh Brolin showed up. But Josh Brolin played this part amazingly. I loved him. Every line that he had, he played that sleazy character too. But
he did.
He's Josh Brolin. You love him, right? Fuck. I was
kind of like that. He was like dim-witted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dim-witted, but he's like, nah. There's something behind those eyes. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's not that dumb.
Yeah.
And he's scary. He was scary to me.
He was. Yeah. Yes. Josh Brolin's not just a dumb criminal like the other guy was. I gotta give it to Josh Brolin, man. I think that one is kind of a tough battle, just because again I think I like the way that the older one is written, but Josh Brolin did a way like put that actor to shame better job than he could have ever done in his life. Nice.
Patrick, what do you say?
Yeah, I definitely thought Josh Brolin's was a better acted character. Just Josh Brolin himself. I mean, he has such a presence about him. So, and it gave presence to that character that the original just did not have. To me, when he first sees Josh Brolin, it's like all of a sudden there's an aura about the character that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he's much more menacing because of that in a way.
I expected him to be a bigger character, actually.
Yeah.
And
even though the character himself was really kind of a coward, overall. Yes. He wasn't a big bad villain, but Josh Brolin still brought better life to the character than the original, I think. And so it's not that the other guy did a bad job. It's just he was kind of the thrown in character. He wasn't really. So I don't think they put a lot of emphasis on how well that character was acted in the original movie.
The scene that messes with me a little bit is that one specific spot in a scene is when he gets shot, and like the original character, he falls down and he's like, "You fucking shot me! I can't believe you shot me!"
Right?
Just, the attitude, obviously not the line.
Yeah,
I'm not quoting. And he's like, "You broke my short rib," Like he was mad about it, but he was just really genuinely surprised that she shot him. And Josh Brolin got shot, and he's like, "You broke my short rib."
Yeah, there was one line by the original in the original movie that I actually liked. I thought was funny, and when he says, "I can't believe I'm going to die being shot by a little girl" or whatever. That was funny.
Always happens to happen to me. Everything always has to happen to me. That's what he said. I was like, there's a whole backstory there. Look at this guy. He's trying, man.
Gene, what do you say? Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick. So you picked Josh Brolin, right?
I think I like Josh Brolin's job a little bit just because I think he fleshed it out a little bit, made it just slightly more menacing. Although maybe that, because he obviously killed a man in cold blood. So, but the other guy, you almost felt like maybe it was a complete accident that he actually managed to do it. But I just think he made the character a little bit more menacing.
Nice.
Sniffing a little too much paint thinner, that one.
Gene, what do you say?
I'm also I pretty much agree with everything that Philip and Patrick have both said. I pick Josh Brolin in this. I think for as small as the character was, he brought a lot to it. Yeah. And he was a snake. That's basically the best way to put his character. He was just a snake.
Symbolism.
He was a coward and everything, but he was a snake.
Yeah.
Away from one Josh snake Brolin. And has to face another.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I got too. The original, he just seemed kind of like a typical straight bad guy, right?
Yep.
Josh Brolin just brought some creepiness. I mean, he still had that same, like he didn't think he was going to get shot either. He's kind of like looking away, kind of chuckling. You got to pull your hammer back. all the way back, and I know they both had the same lines, but the way the original guy delivered it, he's kind of like edging you on to do it, right? Well, Josh Brolin's kind of like, yeah, this is what you have to do. You know, like, he's not expecting that shot to come, I don't think. And then when it comes, and then he just turns and he snaps. You know, you like you said, you broke my short rib or whatever, and he goes after her. And then, it's just, he brings a whole level of creepiness to it, much more than I think Matt Damon brought the creepiness in his bedroom to give him a kiss. Yeah. So
it's just a heavier movie, you know.
It is, and then of course you know it's the direction that you have in it, and you know it's the times, and you're able to get a little bit better, more with, you know, in this day and age and all that good stuff. So I'm with you guys on that one. I'm going to go Josh Brolin as well.
Josh Brolin versus some dude. I'm pretty sure Josh Brolin.
And I don't think any of us gave the time to look up his name. So there's your answer right there. So we go to the characters. What about just the flow of the movie? If you guys don't mind, I like to start this one off. There's one thing that I really, really enjoy. Well, there's two things. One was the score. The score by Carter Burwell. I mean, that piano and just the score really brought me in. That's the first thing that comes in. I mean, you hear older Matty Ross give the dialogue, and then that score comes in and it's continuous through the whole movie.
That's the original or the new one?
I'm sorry, the new one, 2010.
Okay.
And the original is just your typical Western theme, whatever it is that you've heard 1.5 million times. But the new one, it's haunting. It's I don't know. It's just so engaging. It's always a presence there, and I absolutely love it. The one thing also that I thought flowed a little bit better is it's the movie, the new one, the 2010, starts with Matty Ross giving her line, about, her father was shot and you didn't think a 14-year-old can do this, and this is what happened. Where in the original, you got to see the father, you got to see their interaction, you have a nice day at work and all that good stuff. For me, I thought the movie flowed better by not ever seeing the dad, not ever seeing what happened. I thought it flowed better that you got all that carried with Matty Ross, with Haley Steinfeld, all the weight and everything that she's there for and all that, you're with her, and it carries and it filters through here. You didn't get to see it and I kind of agree with you because I saw it too and it happened and all that. No, but I think that just pulls more weight for this character, that you're actually, all this weight is on her shoulders, and you're seeing it through her eyes, and you're seeing it through her acting, and you're seeing it through what her character is going through. And I just thought that flowed so much better, not being able to see the dad and see what happened and all that in the first movie.
I can dig it. I'll go. I think this is hard. This one is really hard. I think that part of the reason they left out a lot of the beginning of the movie has some sort of racism behind it. Because there are some scenes in there with, I don't know if they're slaves or just house workers or whatever, that are they're a little stereotype, hokey, dubbed over kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at it when they do it. Could they do it in a 2010 film? No.
Yep. So
what did they do? They stayed the fuck away from it. We're going to cut that part of the story out. I think that was smart. And I like the way that they did it. Both of them are long as fuck.
I think they're both over 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, I think that they both could have cut out probably 30 minutes of the movie. But I think that they got all the important parts in and skipped out of a lot of the setup in the first one. It was in the original, in the new one. And it kind of got the story moving along a little bit faster and made it more of a relationship between Jeff Bridges and this little girl.
Yeah.
And which, even saying it sounds a little weird, but that's not how it is.
He basically becomes like a surrogate father to her.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And I love the ending of it too, where she is still looking for him, and he dies before she gets there. I thought that was great too. Because, I mean, if you're talking about a movie with True Grit, then listen, True Grit means you're going to tough it out no matter fucking what.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Even when some shit like that happens at the end of your life and you were just really looking forward to seeing this guy again and he's dead, all it leaves is his legend behind.
Excellent.
I think that I really liked the flow of the new one better. I hate to say that because I think that I like the old movie. I think the old movie is a lot more upbeat and I would watch it more often. But the new one is a better movie.
Nice.
Ouch.
You hated to say it. You like you're making me go against. You hate us for making you go against John Wayne.
Well, no, I mean it was a really great movie. I like what they did for it, and it's very theatrical. But so is the old one, and they did that on purpose. You know, I think it works really well.
Nice, Patrick.
I actually think I like the newer movie better, and I think it, to me, has more rewatchability than the old one. Unless you're just someone who really likes the classic westerns, to me, the newer one, it's just, I don't know. I maybe it's partly because I'm a big Coen Brothers fan too. I mean, I like the Coen Brothers like some people like Wes Anderson. So I mean, I almost will always, now I don't always like their movies, but most of the movies I love. And like, you know, you'd mentioned earlier, they have a movie that's in my top 10 movies of all time, and that's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh yeah.
I absolutely. And it's also one of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time too.
Yeah.
Yes, good call.
But that being said, I mean, this movie, it's just a great movie. I mean, it's a good story, and I think the Coen Brothers fleshed it out more than what the original did, with some of the character development and things like that. So to me, I really like it. But that being said, I think the old one's just fine. It's just, you know, I didn't grow up in that era. It came out before I was born, so that stuff, you know, I had to kind of get into the older westerns to like them. So.
Yeah.
And I'm not the huge John Wayne fan that some people are. I appreciate him for who he is and what he is. And there are some great, like, you know, you mentioned The Searchers and stuff. I mean, those are fantastic movies with John Wayne. And this is definitely a good John Wayne movie, but I just think the newer version is a little more like my liking.
Nice. Gene?
Hey. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to also say the 2010. I thought the 2010 version flowed a little bit better, and I'm, without a doubt, the oldest person here. I would have been 8 or 9 years old when True Grit came out, the original.
No argument here.
Yeah, that makes you a millennial.
I was born in
1990, whatever.
I was born in 60, so I'm 57 right now. So, but I think back then I would have liked True Grit a lot. The 1969 version a lot more than I like it now. It's just that I'm older now. I've been around. I know a lot more about how films should be, the acting, the directing, the score, like you said, was awesome in this. I picked that song out and it played all the way through the whole movie.
Yes.
And it really added to it. And the 1969 version, to me, it was a great movie and everything, but it wasn't really above very many Westerns, in my opinion. They're all kind of the same. Like you were saying with the music in the old Westerns, just the standard music that you hear in all the Westerns. And also, this was just more real to me. I'll bet you in the 1800s, the 2010 version with Jeff Bridges' character, all the characters in the movie were probably pretty close to that way, not like the John Wayne version.
Yeah, just and that's just the way the Westerns were made back in the time. Right. They were a little bit cleaner, you know, everyone... Yeah.
And even their clothing, they'd fall down on the ground and they'd stand up and their hat was still on perfectly and all that stuff. And this was just more realistic. I loved it. I loved the 2010 version more.
Nice. Phil, I'm sorry, you were saying something earlier?
Oh, no, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
This one is an easy one for me. I picked True Grit instantly. This is one of my top movies of all time. This is my top Western movie of all time. This is my favorite Coen brother movie of all time. When I saw this movie in the movie theater, man, I instantly fell in love with this. I would probably disagree with you, Phil, when you say you can cut out about 20, 30 minutes on here. I don't think there's a dull moment in here for me. I love it from beginning to end. I love how it begins. I love how it ends. I love the music in it. I love the flow.
Absolutely.
The interaction, I mean, just the dialogue alone. One of my absolute favorite scenes is when Maddie Ross she goes to, I think his name was Colonel Stonehill, whatever, the guy who her father was doing business with. Just that scene right there has got to be one of the best scenes in so many movies, in that movie alone. Just the interaction between the two. I mean, it's what really stole the show for me, for her, for that really solidified this movie.
In the 2010 version?
In the 2010 version.
Okay, all right.
When they're arguing for the horses and the saddle and all that, I just love that back and forth.
Yes. I love that there was a part in the 2010 version where he goes to that cabin and those Native American kids are sitting there and he kicks them off the porch.
What's up with that?
I didn't understand that part.
And then he does it again when he walks out. He kicks the kid back off the porch. What was that all about?
I mean, it was funny.
Henri or what?
I don't. There's some history there because the way they look at him, they're kind of like half expecting it. So I mean, I want to know what the hell's going on with these guys. I really love that. No, 1969 True Grit, not taking a lot away from it. I mean, it was a good movie. It did have its issues. I think, of course, whatever issues they had where John Wayne and the gal didn't get along, I guess you kind of saw that. I think it was the end of John Wayne was basically playing John Wayne at the end of his career. And it was very visible. But I think that was kind of perfect for the role anyway, because in the movie, that's exactly what the character is. Rooster Cogburn is in his 60s, so he's kind of at the end. Where, LaBeef, in both of them, he was kind of the complete opposite. He was upbeat and he was always wanting to do the job and he wants to go, let's do this. Cogburn's, calm down, we'll get to it, we'll do it. I mean, he'll do the job, but I don't know. It just, for me, True Grit 2010, one of my favorite movies of all time, top 10 of all time. I'm picking a gun and I'm standing my ground.
Right.
I mean, I think we all picked a new one. Honestly, I did not think it was, Phil, I really, really had you down for 1969.
I wanted to. It's a LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate.
Ooh,
Ooh. That's what this is. I mean, can the new one be better than the original?
Oh wow.
Maybe it is, but it's close.
It's close.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole nother debate right there. So, when we come back to Saddle Up episode 3, it's all going to be about LeBron James. And
that'll be a short episode for me. I know nothing about basketball.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it, I guess. The first shootout, and I hope we have some more of these shootout episodes. Looks like, folks, we got True Grit 2010 beats out John Wayne in his first shootout ever. If we ever have a shootout with John Wayne, I honestly don't think it's going to go the way it went tonight.
I'm hiding behind Jeff Bridges.
Exactly. You guys have anything else to add before we close shop tonight?
No.
Don't think so.
Can't wait to do it again. See you guys next time.
All right. As always, thanks for listening. Our plans is to bring this show once a month. I think we're kind of right on schedule. We may be a week behind, but what are you going to do? Just let us know. Please give some feedback how we're doing. Did you like this format versus the old format, which is kind of close to the Horror Returns? Did you like the shootout? You can always leave a message on the Horror Return Facebook page or email address at thehorrorreturns@gmail.com. And Phil, I think all the other formats, you guys have Twitter and everything else and all the good stuff, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Check us out on any of the social medias, and if you want to talk about the Western side, then that's what we're here for. So let us know, and we'll do some stuff with it.
All right. Until next month, Gene.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Good night, folks.